Did you see Biz Markie paid 50 Cent in food stamps? Like paid off a debt.
Why did Biz Markie have a debt to 50 Cent?
I don't know if it was an actual debt or if he was kind of just trolling him a little bit, but like 50 Cent is notorious for going after people on Instagram that owe him money.
Yeah.
And there's a picture of Biz Markie paying 50 Cent with food stamps.
So like both of them in the shot and him handing them over to him. So it's got to be staged in some way.
It's really curious to me because like there's a lot of stuff there. Why would 50 Cent accept food stamps as payment? Because I guess later on he was just kind of laughing about it.
Yeah.
I don't think that he'd be too keen on getting food stamps. Two, like if Biz Markie has food stamps, access to food stamps now, what was he doing with his money? Because there's no way he should be living off just a friend.
Well, that's the thing is, I don't know that he is, because traditionally as a musician, you don't make money off of that first hit song because there's a lot of people involved in producers and management and stuff like that you're splitting it with. It's that second, third album that you make your money. So he didn't have a second hit.
But he had albums, not to the point of crossover mainstream success,
right? Like
that one song. But he's been around. He's been making albums. He's been selling records for decades. I mean, he still gets features every once in a while on things. I mean, just the feature alone on Girls, Girls, Girls on Blueprint, Jay-Z's Blueprint, right? He's on the hook.
Biz Markie is?
Yeah. Yeah, so there's I think it's Q-Tip, I think it's Biz Markie, or maybe it's not Q-Tip, it's Slick Rick. Mm-hmm. But there's some he put some veteran MCs on there, and they take turns. Like I think the first hook is Biz Markie going girls, 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 girls I do adore.
I guess I didn't realize that was him. He's usually just talking about his boogers.
Who?
Biz Markie.
Biz Markie?
He's got a song maybe about his boogers. Looking at his whole discography, the only thing that I think was of any relevance was Just a Friend.
Yeah, well,
I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
That's the man. That song alone, though,
it's a good song. It's been redone several times.
How much alcohol has been consumed while listening to that song?
Oh yeah, every frat party in the late 90s, I would say. So a ton.
Hey, welcome to Make Me Like This. I am Jeff. He is Brandon.
Yeah.
And in this episode... Yeah, Mock.
Yeah.
My oldest son really loves playing Marco Polo. Except he says Marco all the time.
Yeah.
So...
Well, you do this in the back. You don't have a pool. You do this running around the house?
To find him.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Traditionally, it's a pool game. You're just saying
it's traditionally a pool game.
Like hide and seek, but you're kind of alerting to people to your location.
We've expanded it because 3-year-olds run everywhere, and it is an easy way to get.
That's appropriate. You're expanding it like Marco Polo expanded the domain of his originating country.
Our neighbors must think we're insane because constantly I will just open up a door or walk around the house just yelling Marco, and I'm not going to hear him say Marco back to me.
Right. He's supposed to say Polo.
He's supposed to, but he doesn't.
He doesn't.
He loves saying Marco.
Your neighbors might think that you have a third kid named Marco. Or you're really fervent Marco Rubio supporters, and you're just shouting out the windows your support for him.
Yep. They probably think we're a little insane.
Yes.
I think that's the case.
That's okay.
In this episode, I'm going to make you like Sheath underwear.
Sheath or sheep?
Sheath.
Sheath.
Go ahead and look at your phone.
Okay. So Jeff sent me a link in Messenger, and I'm opening it now.
I'm going to talk for a little bit, and you just look at it.
All right.
Because mostly the pictures. Don't worry about words, because reading is for the birds. So, Sheath underwear is underwear that has double pouch technology. It's anatomy separating design. This is boxer briefs that have a pocket for your nuts and a separate space for your member. So it separates everything. I love this underwear. I didn't realize that I needed to have different underwear. I was a Hanes, Fruit of the Loom, whatever they had at Meijer kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Buy the cheapest underwear you can get because it doesn't matter. No one ever sees it. But I went through a stage that I've been like overly sherry with you about. That I was getting fungal infections down in that area of my private square there.
Yeah, your Nonozone.
My Nonozone. So been treating it with creams and powders and everything like that, and the doctor's been helping me out. And what I realized is, even though it might not have been the initial cause of it, it was hard to resolve it because it's not dry down there. You got a lot of skin to skin contact. It's like a heating blanket. All of that. So rather than let my scrotum continue to cause me pain, I decided to lift that bad boy up and put it in there. And what I did is I did a Google search for best men underwear or whatever, and I eventually got to Sheath. And
Sheath is a brand name.
Yeah, it's a I think it's a relatively small company. I don't know how big it is, but I ordered everything online, and the story that I found here was this gentleman was in the military. I want to say Marines, but I don't want to be specific about it. He was struggling with something similar to what I was having, but I think guys in general, with your genitalia being outside your body and down in that area, it sticks to everything. It gets uncomfortable and just not a good feeling. He sewed a piece of fabric into his underwear and had great success with staying dry and staying comfortable. And I don't know if it was after he got done serving or if he's still active and he just started the company, but he started a company based upon this, this discovery, this innovation that he made in men's underwear. I never knew that men's underwear could be anything besides, hey, are you boxers briefs or boxer briefs, right? It seems so weird, man. Like it probably it feels weird when I did it the first time.
But so back up, you ordered it sight unseen just by the description that was offered on the website of saying like, hey, this is here's the problem that we're trying to solve. Here's this product. You bought it.
Found a 50% off promo code.
Significant. How? Okay, give me a sense of how much these cost.
I think that they are like $30 a pair.
$30 for one pair of these underpants, and for comparison, your average like Old Navy, Kohl's single
you
pair
get
of
like
boxers.
5 of those you can get 5 for 30.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Easy.
Well, and they depending on the kind, it could be $5 a pair, or you get a $20 3-pack or something like that. So it's probably significant. I would say significantly more costly than your average set. Okay.
I think there's a lot of promo codes out there, so you should never pay full price.
Right.
I don't think.
So wait, the $30 was with a promo code?
Before.
That you paid?
I think
Before.
I think they're $30 retail.
Okay, so you paid half that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
That's good context to have.
So I got them. I wore the pair, and the next day I ordered 6 more.
After one day, you said, yeah.
24 hours, I ordered 6 more of the same exact underwear, and I threw out all my other underwear.
Okay, so 6 more at $30, the full price?
Nope.
Or at the half price?
At the half price.
Okay, that's still a lot of money.
Yep.
Still a lot of bacon.
Yep. And you know what though? I was due.
Sure.
I think I'm like most guys. My underwear collects holes. It's been around with me some of them have been with me close to a decade.
Right.
My wife is always encouraging me to refresh my underwear stock.
She would just be saying, hey, refresh your underwear.
Yeah.
They're a little gamey.
They're a little gamey. No, I used to keep underwear that I felt were so comfortable that just had the crotch like filled with holes. And like for what reason? I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
So do I feel a little pretentious? Do I feel a little wasteful? Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. But I don't care.
Yeah. Well, and I think we're at the age now where we will spend a little bit more on something if it's important to us, if we see intrinsic value in it.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, 10 years ago, there's no way I would spend more than $10 on a pair of sunglasses. I break them easily. I misplace them.
Sure.
So it's like it doesn't make sense to spend $100 on sunglasses because it's just going to be money down the drain.
For sure.
But being a little more settled in, financially and knowing, where you are with, your family's finances, there are certain things that I don't mind spending a little bit more for when it comes to quality, so like that's kind of the, like, I won't spend.
Sunglasses are one of those things.
Well, I'm considering buying some. I was scrolling through Instagram. I found a pair that I really like, and it's more than I usually spend, but I need a new pair. All the ones I have are kind of taped together or held together with some sort of stuff. You're just to be clear, folks at home, that zipping was him showing his sunglasses
not
and pulling them out of the
underwear.
case and not unzipping his pants.
I just want
to
you
show
to
his
be able to
underoos.
see sunglasses.
Yeah, sunglasses
I
that
feel
cost.
like if I wear the sunglasses for the entire time,
Yeah,
you're gonna order those sunglasses as soon as you leave here. Or
maybe
maybe it's gonna have the
maybe.
opposite thing.
I'm gonna say you look like a dork. I don't want to look
sunglasses are dumb.
No. Yeah. So I get that. If it's a good experience, it's worth investing a little bit into, and then kind of resetting with your underwear choices. So I'm gonna read from the Sheath website to give the audience a little bit of understanding. There's a lot of pictures of these, and they're kind of they're diagrams. They're not really like real world pictures of them, but it's a picture of underpants, and where the genitalia is supposed to go, they've got fruit. So it's like a banana and I guess plums, but yeah, they look like plums. They're purpley, so that's my understanding. I'm going to say plums.
I have never once thought that I was abusing my area. I never once thought that the testicles needed to have its own space.
Yeah.
I was never a fan of whitey tighties, like of briefs, right? Because they felt weird. They felt too tight.
Yeah.
And also the friction down in the lower. I've got big quads, big hamstrings, just like big.
I've got big quads and I cannot lie.
So that that's the biggest thing there. It's
Okay.
not, I'm not saying.
hope it's not the biggest thing there.
Oh, it is the biggest thing. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say. Is
Okay.
that the thighs there don't give much breathing room. So that's what I can
Wait. So is this breathing or, in terms of like the mesh of the fabric?
No.
Or it's the separation?
The
that's
separation.
the breathing room. Okay.
The
So when you say
separation.
breathing room, you just mean deliberate separate space.
Well, lifting it off of my thighs.
Okay.
All of the stuff there.
Yeah.
It's made a difference. I don't come home feeling swampy. I know that this is a hilarious topic.
It's hilarious. Yeah.
Because people don't talk about it too much. But I
No.
really do think that guys need to talk about it more.
Sure.
Because I've never talked to another guy about that situation.
Yeah.
Beyond a joke of like putting Gold Bond on every day.
Right.
And doing that whole thing. I just came off a stint of probably a decade applying Gold Bond twice daily, just to make things comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't need to do anything anymore. I put my underwear on. I take a shower.
Yeah.
I put my underwear on. I have a good day.
Yeah.
And I go home. Wake up.
You wake up and
Put
your sack
take a
back in the
shower,
pouch.
Put the sack back where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And go about my business.
Okay. Well, let me read this paragraph here. It says, "Our revolutionary dual pouch takes what makes Sheath so remarkable and improves upon it in the only way we could think possible. The dual pouch features a circular seamed urination hole within the inner kangaroo pouch that leads to an outer vertical pouch, isolating not only the genitals from the inner thighs, but also the penis from the testicles.
Yep.
Our dual pouch design also adds a popularly demanded fly for quick access. This level of isolation proves to be particularly effective in the most sweltering and high activity conditions imaginable." And they have little depictions with arrows and such to kind of talk about the extremities and the isolation pouch and how they fit into. So is there like a tucking situation? You're pulling the underpants up, and then you have to like do some like mushing.
I pull them up.
Yep.
And then I just kind of open the band with my thumbs.
Yep.
You reach in, you cup your testicles,
Yeah.
and you plop it in the big first pouch there.
Okay.
And then I usually do pull my penis through the urination hole into the second pouch area, which is kind of looks like the traditional brief fly, right? Like it's just a flap
Yeah.
that's over there.
But isn't it then exposed?
It's in a pouch. So like
a
that
secondary pouch?
Yeah.
So it's like a cow's stomach where it's got different
yeah. Yes.
chambers.
I put my genitalia in a cow's stomach.
Well,
But
you do you.
so here's the thing that usually, throughout the course of the day, you don't say the same size.
Yeah.
And that ends up like falling back into the main pouch. And to be honest with you, it's comfortable just to have all of your stuff. Like for me,
Yeah.
I don't need that separation between penis and testicles. I need to get the testicles off my thighs.
Yeah, that's a secondary concern for you. Really, it's just the separation.
Yep.
Unto itself, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And it's sometimes like when you have your penis through that urination hole and into the second pouch area, and you sit down. If you sit down at a certain angle, like your penis like retracts into like your body a little bit, and then it actually like ends up feeling like a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So most of the time it's spent all in just the first pouch, but I'm sure that other guys, like their anatomy is such that that's probably beneficial for them. I just don't really take advantage of that design as much, but I try it out because it's there. Right?
Yeah.
And it's recommended at least.
So throughout the day, is there adjusting needed to kind of compartmentalize or to adjust or to like
Nope.
kind of fix. It stays pretty much
I forget it's there.
all day. You forget it's there?
I forget my stuff's there. Yeah.
Okay.
If anything, I'm like, man, like I'm walking very freely. Like I haven't adjusted myself at all today.
Huh.
Because before I would adjust it to pull it up, right?
Right.
I'd grab and like pull it out, like not out, but up, away from the thighs. Yeah.
Okay. So, you know how they have those shoes that are like glove shoes? I don't know what the terminology is called, but essentially, you put a glove on your hand and each finger goes into its separate
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep.
They have that for socks and shoes as well, right? And it's supposed to like be like a totally freeing experience. And
I've never tried them.
I have tried one before, and it was the most uncomfortable feeling I've ever had. And it was like I felt hyper cognizant of the material in between each toe, which was distracting, frankly, a little bit irritating. I would worry that this would be provide the same experience.
I think you would have an adjustment period. I did have like a 24 to 48 hour period where I was hyper aware of it.
Yeah.
Because it's so different. I'm not used to having it there, and it like by lifting it up, it actually is having it stick out a little bit, right? Like, like I mean, not that I care about it, but it like I could tell, like it made me look bigger because it's not between, like tucked between my.
Sure,
that's not what I was going for, but that gives you an kind of. I want you to have the visual in your head of this lifted up. I felt a little bit like I was like doing something kinky, right? Because it was put me in a different place.
Yeah.
And it was stimulating because it was touching, parts that it doesn't normally touch on that skin level.
Right.
But after 48 hours, it just became like
natural,
my norm. And honestly, I prefer it. And even in that 48-hour period, I was like, this feels weird because I'm a little bit more sensitive to like feeling that it's there.
Yeah.
However, I really like it. I feel clean. I don't feel sweaty. I feel good.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, despite that adjustment period, you still purchased 6 more.
Right.
Before you were completely adjusted, so it was good enough of an experience for you to make that financial commitment, even though you weren't fully. You probably felt like, oh, I can get used to this. This makes sense to me.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Well, you've said before you're not governed by financial things, right?
Yeah.
And that's.
Did you browse the exact prices? Because I didn't want to misquote or whatever. I think it was around $30 for retail.
Let's see. Click on the shop. And if anyone's listening and they want to check it out, it's sheathunderwear.com. If you want to get a good look at the visuals here. There's like on the picture.
That's the one I have, by the way. The 8-inch, because I'm tall and I felt like I needed a little bit more. Like the rubbing of the thighs is something that's always bugged me.
There's like a red band on otherwise black material across the top. There's this red band with what looks like hieroglyphics.
Kind of like Spartan stuff to me.
It's very ornate.
That's the other thing too. So that pair doesn't do the bunch up that boxers and boxer briefs normally do. What kind of underwear do you normally wear?
I wear boxers unless I'm running.
So like loose fitting boxers, like not really tight fitting.
Yeah.
Do they bunch on you at all?
Not really.
Yeah.
No, I'm not very mobile.
I like to just stay
most of
in one place.
Yes, I value stillness. So a 5-pack is $123. The Sheath 3.21 is $28. Looks like there's a 3-pack for $75, but like just the regular one is $30 for the men's 8-inch sports performance boxer brief.
Okay.
That's a lot of money.
Which there's promo codes out there, so
that's
not the exact price. But
Right.
we're not getting past the fact that this is going to cost you more than Fruit of the Loom.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Or Hanes.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you have one of those too, or a mixture of both of those. Or do you have like some American Eagle like bro boxers?
Gosh, I think there's a wide variety of all kinds because I get things out of necessity.
Mm-hmm.
And
like you haven't done laundry and you buy a 5-pack.
Not even that. I think it's more so like, oh, this one is beyond repair. You've worn it a year past its natural expiration date, and this is no longer viable to wear because it's providing no barrier between you and the outside world.
Of boxers?
My oldest pair that I currently have. I've probably got some that are 20 years old that are in good shape, and I probably don't wear there's probably one at the bottom of the drawer that is old enough, but intact enough that I don't feel like throwing it away, but I still don't wear it. I would say on average, probably 10 years or so.
Okay.
With that's
the average
oldest,
of the boxers that you have?
Probably.
Oh my gosh.
But they I've got some, as the older ones are just no longer viable, getting some new ones to replace them. So there's newer ones in that mixed rotation. So, but somewhere around then, I would say there's a bunch from like Old Navy. Old Navy's a good store to, they've got frequent clearances, and you can get you can pick up a bunch of, I would say, boxers. You could get like 3 for $10 or something like that. That appeals to me.
Do you get any flack from anyone at home about the age of your underwear? No.
It's they aren't as tattered as you might think for being as old as they are. Some of them, but I would say most of them are on the 5 years or less side. There are some, like, on average.
How many pairs do you have?
That's a good question.
Just ballpark it.
Never enough.
Above 50?
Oh, no.
Above 25?
Probably.
So somewhere between 25 and 30?
That seems accurate. I think there's like a staple of ones that are go-tos.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you run through those, you're behind on laundry. Then you go back into the B-sides.
Mm-hmm.
You get the older ones that you don't like as much, but you wear them out of necessity because the other ones aren't clean. You don't have time, and you've got to hop in the car and get going. So there are some that I keep around because I'm fearful that there might be a day where I just absolutely need them. So
I was the same way, and I will admit that I had second thoughts about trashing all of mine.
Yeah,
but
is that what you did? You trashed them?
I trashed all of them, and I had that thought. I was like, man, I should keep some B-sides around.
Yeah.
Because what if I hit the skids towards the end of the week here, and
skids, like skid marks?
I just can't make it through with all of my my first team All-Americans.
Yeah. You gotta go second string.
Yeah. So what I came to the conclusion of is if I have backups, I'm going to wear the backups.
Yeah.
And I've been better about doing laundry. I have a separate laundry bag that I keep for my underwear and my socks because I need to do them more frequently now, because I also really like a particular brand of socks.
Right.
That maybe I'll make you like later or something.
Okay.
But
this whole thing is about getting me new wardrobe.
Socks and underwear are things that I never invested money in. Always cheaped out on, never gave a thought about. But I am realizing now at 34 years of age that if I have really good socks and really good underwear, that I feel great. They make a difference in my day.
Sure.
Socks especially make me feel less fatigued. when they're really good socks. My feet don't feel as hot. They don't feel, you know, that feeling when you take your shoes off at the end of the day and it just like it feels so like awful. Like I don't have that as much anymore with I'll go ahead and say it, with my Darn Tough socks.
Yeah. That's a brand, Darn Tough?
Darn Tough.
Okay.
Like darn is in darning, not darn.
It's not like Wilford Brimley on the commercial saying, "You gotta get these socks." So that sounds like something that he would
so
endorse.
Over my head. Like I know who Wilford Brimley is. I don't know him outside of the context of, you know, check your blood sugar and check it often.
All inclusive.
Is that the only thing he does? I'm just guessing that he's just
does
a
oatmeal
diabetic.
Commercials.
He's just a diabetic that people want to put on film.
He was an old man actor in the 80s for a lot of films.
Is he still alive?
He's still alive, yeah, and he seemed really old back then, but he's got to be way older now, because in the 80s he was playing a geriatric.
Right.
But come to find out, in that movie Cocoon, he was playing like an old man in a retirement home. He was in his 50s.
Yeah.
So, whatever. I guess all of the Golden Girls, none of them were as old as they were depicted in that show. They made them to look older just for effect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Golden Girls nailed it, though, because my grandparents lived down in Florida. Whenever I watch that, like, I mean, just, I don't know if it's the time period, like the quality, like the way that they did film.
Yeah.
At that period of time, and their wardrobe, their hair, like everything, like reminds me of my grandma.
Yeah.
Their design aesthetic in that house, like when I watch that, I'm like, oh my gosh, they got that really right.
Yeah.
And that's got to contribute quite a bit before you even start talking about characters and plot lines and everything, which were good in itself in that show. I love the Golden Girls. I'll watch it anytime it comes on.
Yeah. I'd like to revisit it as an adult,
but
just to see if it,
yeah,
how I ingest it differently.
You haven't watched it in a long time?
I have not since the 1980s. So
I didn't watch much of anything in the 80s. At least I can't remember it. He-Man. I watched He-Man in the 80s.
Yeah.
Masters of the Universe would be more correct.
I was a big fan of Orko.
Yeah.
Do you remember Orko? He was like the little magician guy.
He like with like no face and just like a hat.
It's like a giant red hat and a cloak, basically.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. I was the only kid on my block who was like into Orko.
Who's the character in Fat Albert that was like
Mushmouth?
Mushmouth had no face.
Basically.
Yeah.
It was just like a knit hat like pulled down to his lips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when they did the live action stuff with Keenan, they did a bit where like he took his hat off and he had no head up.
Oh, really?
It. Yeah.
That seems traumatic. I did not see that movie.
I think I went to that movie high out of my mind.
Oh, really?
And thought it was way more hilarious than
thought it was really funny?
Yeah.
You should watch it now and see.
I don't know. Yeah, I should. Also, there's an animated TMNT that came out. I gotta think it was like
kind of like a dark and gritty one.
2004, 2005,
2006, I think.
2006.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where Raphael is like a real like wild card cursing.
I really like it.
Yeah.
I remember liking it. I've only watched it when I was I drank about half a fifth of Belite bourbon.
Yeah.
When I was in college. And there was also pornography on another TV. We had 4 TVs on a single wall when I was in college.
Yeah.
There was a lot going on.
I'm sure.
With my intoxication and the pornography and I think a sporting event.
Your,
but I was dialed in. I was like, this is the greatest Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie or show that I've ever seen. And I'm a huge fan, right?
Oh, yeah.
But I haven't gone back and watched it. I've watched it once, and it was in a very specific state.
Yeah.
Do you have any like things that you've experienced, or like it could be movies or it could be something else, but like where you were in an altered state and you never went back and experienced it again. But you could have, because like a movie's something I can rewatch whenever I want.
Yeah.
But you have very state specific memory of engaging with that.
I've never dabbled in any recreational drugs or anything like that, so I don't have that kind of experience. I don't believe that I've ever like been to a movie while like drunk or anything like that.
Really?
Yeah, and this is like the pop culture movie geek in me and stuff. I don't want to diminish the experience or feel ill in the middle of a movie that I've been waiting 6 months to see and have to to leave or whatever. But I will say that like in a somewhat similar vein, seeing a movie on opening night with a packed crowd and it's hilarious and you're laughing, like the laughter is contagious and you're feeling just this overwhelming hilarity wave hit you as you're watching. Like I remember opening night for Dumb and Dumber, opening night for Austin Powers 2. The hardest I think I've ever laughed in my life was in Austin Powers 2 when the introduction of Mini-Me. And like at that moment, it was so funny. Like I laughed so hard. I was laying down in the aisle trying to catch my breath because I couldn't breathe. Like legitimately could not breathe. And then watching it on home video, a year later, thinking like, I remember this was really, really funny. And this is just a guy, it had a different experience because it wasn't with the group mentality. It wasn't the environment that the theater was on opening night.
Austin Powers is a great example of something like this. Austin Powers had so many references that were time specific.
Yes.
Like at that point in time, they were hilarious because it was
social commentary
cued into what was going on.
Right. And Mike Myers, a man who's now in his 50s, who grew up in the 70s and referencing stuff from that era, to me, who's 10, 15 years younger than him, I got half of the references. The other half I could get by context. For someone like you, it probably was way over your head.
The first one I don't remember as well, but two, I remember being hilarious.
Yeah.
Was it Goldmember?
Goldmember
was the second one, or was that the third one?
Goldmember was the third one.
I think Goldmember wasn't as funny to me, but the one that had Mini-Me in it.
Number 2 was The Spy That Shagged Me, I think.
Okay. And then did that have Heather Graham in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite one. And I went to the theaters and I really, really remember enjoying it. Almost an identical experience to you, to where, I don't know if I went on opening night, but there was enough people in that audience where it was like a social experience.
It was a thing, yeah.
What movie would you say is the greatest movie that you've ever seen, but it was helped out by external factors from the movie? So it's like really your greatest movie viewing experience. Is it one of those Dumb and Dumber, or Austin Powers 2?
I would say the first Avengers film.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, because that was, they carefully built up each character in their own solo movie and then brought them together. And that was something that prior to that point hadn't been done, at least not with the same tact and deliberate planning. Seeing that unfold and seeing these iconic characters come to life on screen. And my son was 6 at the time. That was me taking him to, and we're going to experience this together, which formed a tradition that we still uphold to this day of going to see, Marvel films on their opening weekend. That to me was bigger than the movie itself. I really enjoyed it. And, watching it today in comparison to all the ones that have come out after that, who have just gotten more and more epic. it's not as, it doesn't have the same impact watching it now than it did back then.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was what, 2010, 11 or 12, maybe it's 2011, 12. I don't remember.
Do you still like the movie though? Like, do you still think it's a great movie?
I haven't watched it in a while.
Yeah. You probably shouldn't. Like,
I've watched bits and pieces like on cable, and they've been, and especially like the end, the battle in New York.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't fully watched it, but I can't imagine it. The movie that just came out, Avengers Endgame, goes back to
spoilers
portions of that. I don't think that's too much of a spoiler. But parts of that movie are revisited,
mm-hmm.
and it's still pretty epic, right? It's just in comparison to all that's happened since, there's just such a wider universe now. They've introduced way more characters and storylines. So I think that's a good example, though, of the environment, the timing, and the personal connection to it, all making it greater than the sum of its parts.
Sure.
So that's something. But speaking of parts, speaking of your parts, your private parts, going back.
Yeah, let's do this.
I feel like we have been. So my mind fixates on things that are out of the normal for me,
mm-hmm.
and it's hard for me to grasp change when it comes, like I think change is something that I have difficulty with overall in life, not that I am afraid of it or something, but it's just, I'm a habitual person, and any introduction of change is difficult to overcome easily.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like wearing underpants is something I've been doing for, I don't know when I was potty training.
You've been wearing them for a long time.
I've been wearing underpants longer than you've been alive.
And even more so, you've been wearing probably the same kind of underpants by choice.
Well,
for a pretty long period of time.
I wore the brief style up until college.
Mm-hmm.
And then around that time switched to boxers.
Do you remember why?
I do. I had a girlfriend who made fun of me.
Oh gosh.
Like, just knowing that I had like the brief style.
Mm-hmm. Were they white too? Like,
yeah, they were. And this was a girlfriend that, this was like a not a serious girlfriend, but
sure.
It's like and this is how she knew, was like I was playing basketball or something. I reached up, and then the top of my the briefs.
Oh man, I was thinking it was going to be like a big reveal.
No,
you guys were getting intimate.
Not at all. No, not with this girlfriend. And then she saw it, and then she was like, you should really get with the times. This is also someone who, and this is indicative of the timing of the time that it was.
It's like late 90s.
Yeah. She was mad because my jeans didn't have a hammer hanger on it. Like, that was the cool thing, to have a hammer hanger.
I remember those.
Yeah, and it's like, well,
FUBU had hammer hangers.
Did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, all kinds of the cool kinds did. I didn't have it, and this was a superficial.
I'm gonna bring that back,
girlfriend. You should,
and I'm gonna actually have a hammer all the time on it, because no one had the hammer on it.
No, probably not.
No, that's what it's for.
My sense is, I'm sure that I would like, Scotch, but you have Scotch at first, and it's like it takes a little getting used to, and you have to train yourself to like Scotch, and you're training yourself to like something that's more expensive. Why don't you just be happy with the Budweiser?
You're making me sound mad sophisticated right now.
Well,
I don't know if like single malt Scotch is the same as spending $15 on a pair of underwear.
Well, okay, yeah, but what I'm saying is, if I'm fine with what I have, and it would take me time to get used to something and accept something that costs more, that is going to be more costly for me, then that's not an endeavor that I'm interested in taking on. This is, I don't have the same problems that have sparked your interest in this style. Mm-hmm. So for me to go out of my way to say I'm going to spend, 5 times more than usual for, to get used to have to get over the hurdle of comfort to enjoy this, I don't know that that's something that I can get on board with.
Sure.
So think you need to officially ask me the question.
Yeah. So, Brandon, now that we've talked for a period of time at length about my genitalia and how I found support for my genitalia in Sheath underwear.
Yeah.
Have I convinced you to give Sheath underwear a try?
No, you haven't, but you have convinced me that support is a theme that keeps reoccurring with you, whether it's physical with your ball sack or emotional, and that's something that we need to explore, I think. Support. If we're talking about your love languages, what kind of motivates you? What kind of support are you needing? We can talk about that another time, but
you know what I realized as you were talking is that my situation here is similar to like your dietary restrictions, and probably the point in time when you either got diagnosed or just came to a realization based upon like removing stuff from your diet, reintroducing them, and you were sure that like, man, gluten bothers me, or these oils bother me, or dairy or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You need that, understandably so, that urgent need,
right,
causes you to make drastic life changes.
Yeah.
Right.
And justify spending $5 on a loaf of bread because that's the only way I can eat bread.
And I'm in that situation.
Absolutely.
Right. Like, until you started kind of talking about it in comparison to Scotch, like it's a luxury item, it definitely would be a luxury item for you because you don't have a problem with that stuff.
Right.
But when you were talking about it, I was like on the inside being like, man, it's not like that with me. Like, I'm not doing this because like I'm bougie with my underwear.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's something that's interesting to me is like, it makes sense that strong motivating factors are when like you come to a point in your life where you can't do stuff anymore. You come to a realization that like you've got to drastically change stuff.
Yeah.
You've got to make habitual changes.
Definitely.
And you're willing to pay a premium in order to make that change a little bit easier or a little bit more effective for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, thank you for bringing this to my attention. I'm going to spend the rest of the weekend getting the visuals out of my head of you standing in front of your mirror and doing lunges.
Yeah.
But no, I
Picture
can't.
me with like a 30-pound weight doing lunges, because then that makes me feel like I'm impressive.
Okay.
All right.
I'll try.